Hey guys, welcome to the Diary of a Genderfluid YouTube collaboration project. It's Saturday, so you guys get to see me, Ezra. I know you're excited. You can hold your applause. Well, this week our topic is our least favorite thing about being genderfluid. See, last week we focused on the positives, what our favorite things about being genderfluid is, and so with every positive, usually there's going to be a negative. I mean, this is real life, and I have a lot of negatives. I've been wrote handy little list. Switching genders inconveniently. I mean, honestly, that's one of the most annoying things about being gender fluid. I mean, you're out in the mall, or you're hanging out with friends, or you're in class, or you're at work, and you're dressed in a certain one way, or you're presenting as feminine, or you're presenting as masculine, and because you're a guy, or a girl, or you're androgynous because you're agender, or some other way, and then all of a sudden your gender switches, and you honestly are like, what the heck? Because you can't go home. You can just go home, dress, and come back. It's really hard, and you're stuck in being presented like that until you go home for the rest of the day. And honestly, you feel really silly, kind of humiliated, and you just kind of dysphoric about it. Mysterious genders. And by mysterious genders, I mean those genders that you don't experience as much as the other genders that you experience. So when you wake up in the morning and you lay there trying to determine which gender you are, usually for that day or maybe for that moment, and you're kind of like, this is weird, because you really don't know how to act, you don't know how to talk, you don't know which really pronouns you're really wanting for that day, and it's just honestly really confusing. Or maybe you're in the middle of the day and all of a sudden you feel really funny. Or you feel like you're being pulled one way, or you're being pulled another day. It feels like you're being pulled all different ways for different genders, and it's just very confusing, and it just honestly gives you a lot of anxiety. It's dysphoria. Even though we're not binary transgender, we do experience certain levels of dysphoria. For example, like I experience chest dysphoria, but I don't experience bottom dysphoria outside of the size of my hips. Or perhaps you don't feel chest dysphoria and you only feel bottom dysphoria because you don't have that certain bottom genitalia that you want, or or your chest isn't big enough. Maybe you're trans feminine, it's not enough. Or maybe you need to look androgynous, and certain areas are you don't want any genitalia at all. And so yeah. That's always really fun. I know I described it earlier as it's like being homesick, but instead of instead of yearning for that home or that place that you are, it's yearning for the crap body that you were supposed to be born with, that way that you weren't born with. That my favorite phrase that people yell at me. You can only be a girl or a guy. First off, no. Non-binary individuals exist. Genderfluid is not the only non-binary gender out there. There's also agender flux, gender flux, demi-girl, demi-boy, bigender, trigender, polygender, pangender. There's all sorts of different non-binary genders out there, and I'm not the only one. And non-binary genders really do exist. Just because I might present as masculine, or I'm a trans masculine, does not mean I'm an FTM person. Or just because I present as feminine does not mean I'm too feminine to be gender fluid, or I'm too feminine to be non-binary. Next up is the amount of questions that gets thrown at me. I mean, I know I'm part of an Ask blog. That's my point. The point of being there is for people to give me questions. For them to come to me when they're confused, and me to answer, use my experience and using my ability to Google things to help you answer those questions. But when I'm coming out to a person, or I'm talking to a person in public, and they ask me the most ignorant questions or common sense questions, yes, they're more public and they're not educated on this topic as much as I am. But honestly, a 5-minute Google search would help you so much more than 20 minutes of me explaining something to you that you may not understand, that you won't understand firsthand like I experienced, because you are not going through what I'm going through. And then there's like the question, and then there's like the assumptions that, my gender fluidity or me being non-binary is just a result of my hard home life, which I don't understand. My gender is my gender regardless of my home life. And even if that was a result of my hard home life, it's still my gender and it's still valid. The assumption that gender fluidity is actually bisexuality, which is really, really wrong. I don't understand that. Gender fluidity isn't even a sexuality, it's gender. And gender does not equal sexuality at all. It's two completely different things. And then there's the other phrase that I love. You're just a special snowflake. Transgender, special snowflake, cis girl wanting to be special. There's so many different terms that might get thrown at me and get thrown at other people as well. I am not a special snowflake. My gender is real. I am real. My experiences are real. My dysphoria is real. What I am saying to you is real. I am not a transgender. Honestly, I mean, I have never experienced someone who was a transgender. People who believe that they're transgender or non-binary and then later realize that they're not and honestly go back and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. They're not transgenders, they were just confused about their gender and were exploring their gender expression and trying to see if they actually were. There's nothing wrong with that. They weren't the gender that they thought they were, they're confused. So what? But that doesn't mean that I'm confused either just because that one person out there were. I am sure that I am, and if I'm definitely not cis. I mean, not that there's nothing wrong with it. Not that there is anything wrong with being cis. That's just, I know who I am at this point. And exploring, there's nothing wrong in exploring what your gender is. In fact, I encourage it. Find out who you are. Know more about yourself, because in the end, even if you aren't what you thought you were, you're gonna know more about yourself, which is more than you can say about a whole bunch of other people out there. And then, I mentioned this before, sexuality versus gender. Just because I'm gender fluid does not mean that I like this, I like all genders. I do, but that's not because I'm gender fluid. Just because it doesn't mean that I'm bisexual or anything at all. Gender fluid is not a sexuality, it's a gender. I can't emphasize this enough. And a bi-gender person isn't bisexual. A binary transgender individual is not just heterosexual or homosexual. Like, for example, an FTM person who is homosexual, that means they like guys. And an MTF who likes girls is not they're homosexual. They're not heterosexual. And if they like both genders, they're bi. Or if they like two genders or more, they are bisexual or possibly pansexual. I mean, if we're non-binary, it can really vary. It just depends on what they identify as. And when they tell you something, believe them and respect that. Being closeted is so fun, guys. I mean, for me, I really have one step in the closet and one out because I'm not really sure what I want to do yet. I don't know who I trust yet. I don't know what I'm most comfortable with that right now. Honestly, it's like you're always wondering about, oh, am I dressed in one way too much or am I dressed another way too much? If I dress like this other gender for just today, even though I present one way the majority of the time, if I present this way because I want to present this way so bad because dysphoria, is it going to tip them off too much? And I have to be careful about what I say around them, how I say it. And then for people who just come in, well, why don't you just come out if it's bothering you that much? I can't. Coming out is going to bother me way more than just like staying closeted will. Because if I come out, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know, and I'm scared. I mean, there are certain people I am out to. Coming out isn't just one giant grand thing. I'm not gonna stand in front of the Greek theater in front of my school and yell out, well, hey guys, I'm gender fluid. No, I can't do that. Coming out is a process. You might tell one person that you trust the most, and then you might tell a group of other people. You might start telling your teachers then after that. You might write a note to your parents. It's a giant process. It's just not one grand thing. And it's never fun because you're constantly watching what you're saying, what you're doing, how you act, how you walk, what you wear, because it can tip off. Make them start thinking things, and then they start asking you questions that you're not really ready to answer, and you're kind of placed into a corner. Names! Being gender fluid, I mean, there's kind of a pressure to choose a very gender neutral name. you know, you get a name that's too masculine, people assume that you're a guy, or you get a name that's too feminine, they'll assume that you're a girl. Ezra is, that's my name. It's masculine, but you know, I'm trans masculine, so I really like that name. You know, it means a lot to me. I chose it for a reason. I didn't just pick a random name that I liked. At first, I thought at first I was going to stick with my birth name because it is a gender neutral name, but I didn't like it because it was associated too much to when the time I identified as a girl, even though I'm not a girl. And then I wanted to go by Ash or Ashton, but you know, a lot of Ash is considered a more feminine name now. And while there's tons of people on Tumblr and that people I know who are not cis, who are trans masculine or FTM who use the name Ash or Ashton, that just wasn't the name that I was feeling. And then there was Jake. Jake was too masculine for me, along with Antonio, that I really liked. So I just stuck with Ezra because Ezra, it's just a name I love, and it's associated with some things that I identify with, and it's associated with things that bring pleasant memories back to me. Maybe I'm just being trying to be social, or maybe I'm actually just a guy. I've been feeling like a guy for about a few weeks now. Maybe I'm just actually a guy. Oh no, I've been feeling a gender for a day or two. Maybe I'm just actually a gender. It's a pain in the butt, and it's always in the back of your mind because your shifts, sometimes they can last for a very long time. Some people experience them as long as a year or multiple years before they shift into another gender. And you get that nagging feeling, okay, maybe I'm actually just this. Maybe I'm not actually gender fluid. Maybe I'm actually this one gender. Some people consider gender fluid a transitional gender because people don't really want to accept that they're actually just a binary gender of another gender of their or they're a gender that's not their own. No, that wasn't that they were born with. But I mean, sometimes it's the case, but honestly, I don't believe that's the case for me and a lot of people who do identify as gender fluid. But it's just the doubts are always there, the insecurities are always there. And it's always usually in the back of your mind. Even if I'm just like one gender for a day, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm actually this. I can't wait to go and get all these hormones and look a certain way. But it's always there, and eventually it passes. So yeah, guys, that's the video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get some insight into some of my least favorite things about being gender fluid. So like, thumbs up, subscribe, check out my playlist for the rest of my videos, and check out my personal channel for more videos that I am about to post. I am currently editing a video for my next video for my personal channel, so you guys look forward to that, and I will see you guys next week.